it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This time we're doing a why-buy on Shaco, the Demon Jester. He is quite a champ. Pretty much entirely used as a jungler, and definitely one of the more unique and interesting, kind of quirky champions in League of Legends. So if you're interested in champions like that are a little bit more different, I guess I would say, I think Shaco can fit that bill very nicely. He is more of an assassin, has a stealth component to his kit as well, and definitely somebody who can be an absolute terror in the early game with his ability to sneak up on people and get early kills, and then transitions into more of like a weird split-pushing nuisance in the late game. So this is actually a really, really fun game. I think Shaco is an interesting champ because he's one of probably the people who play Shaco poorly are so bad and so worthless that Shaco, like, I've seen some really, really bad Shacos in my day. But then at the same time, people who are really good on him can absolutely terrorize and carry games. And he, again, another champion who can really breed on the lack of coordination and communication in solo queue. A champion who can really take advantage of those situations to its fullest extent. I think I saw Diana put a ward, and I was right. So I head on to this far side for my first gank after I pick up my double buffs. Went for fairly slow clear. Now pinging onto Twisted Fate. Going to go ahead and Q in, ignite, and use my E and my auto attacks with the red buff. And it looks like a nice yellow card is going to help us pick up that first blood kill. And so off to a good start on Shaco. Anyways, let's get into his skills and abilities as I continue to farm up my early jungle. His passive Backstab. Shaco will deal 20% bonus damage when attacking from behind. This is very, very important, and you really want to try to take advantage of this as much as you possibly can, because Shaco is much weaker in like a straight head-to-head, I'm fighting you, you're fighting me. Like if you were standing there auto-attacking your opponent and he's auto-attacking you, Shaco's pretty weak. But if you can get into a situation where they're trying to run away from you, Shaco's really strong. If you can get the sneak up on somebody, and taking advantage that way, Shaco's really strong. And so it's really all about maximizing your passive to get that 20% bonus damage whenever you possibly can. Next would be Q, his deceive. This is his stealth ability. He will teleport a short distance, so it's like a miniature flash. And then he will also become invisible for 3.5 seconds afterwards. And then his next basic attack is guaranteed to crit for a percentage. Ooh, a nice hook there by Thresh. Unfortunately, though, Jinx does go down to the ignite, and she does pick up the kill on Blitzcrank. I don't know if we have enough to finish off Caitlyn, so just going to try to push in this wave. Don't have my I did have my deceive up again, but anyways, so his Q is really one of his core abilities. This is what helps you get in position to gank. It would help you get in position to use your passive properly when you gank. It helps you be extremely slippery. Shaco is one of the hardest champions to really lock down in corner because of his passive, or because of his Q, and you really want to take advantage of that. And it's just a really nice ganking ability. You know, you want to always try to be able to use this from the fog of war, enter into the lane with your deceive, and then appear right behind them, get that bonus damage, and get the bonus damage not only from the crit, but from your passive, because you want to come in from behind as well. And just a really solid ability overall. And then later in the game, this is really what makes him a strong split pusher. I transitioned Shaco into a strong split pusher later in the game, and I do so in part because of his Q. Anytime somebody comes up to deal with you, you can basically just deceive away, and you can deceive over walls. You can just be extremely hard to lock down and deal with. Next up would be his W, Jack in the Box. This is his primary jungle tool, and also his primary crowd control tool. So basically, Shaco will place a box on the ground, and then it will become invisible after 2 seconds, but then when it pops out, it looks like I'm going to deceive in, going to ignite, and throw my shiv and get the kill there. So another second kill onto Diana, off to, again, a very good start on Shaco so far. Already completing my Elder Lizard, my last back, so definitely ahead of Udyr. If we look at the gold count, you can see I'm definitely ahead, and getting that early Elder Lizard is really nice as well. So anyways, there's my box placed on the ground to help with the red buff. Your box does a couple of things. First of all, it will fear enemies and monsters when it comes out of its invisibility. So whenever so you put it down on the ground, and then whenever an opponent or an enemy comes within its range, it will unstealth, it will start attacking them, and it will fear them. The fear duration actually goes from 0.5 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So because of that reason, I would probably want to max this skill second, because it is quite nice to increase that fear duration, is very, very important. But then it also looks like we're going for a little bit of a fight here. But then this also does a lot of damage as well. It looks like, oh, Wukong does have ult, and he is going to take out Riven, unfortunately. But I think I'm going to be able to finish this off. Yes, I am. So anyways, so then your Jack-in-the-Box, when it does come unstealth, it will start auto-attacking your opponent. And also it will tank damage as well. So very, very useful skill overall. You're definitely going to want to take a point in this at level 1 and then use this to help clear your buffs. Shaco needs absolutely 0 leash. If you remember at the beginning of this game, I had 3 Jack-in-the-Box down at my blue buff, and I was able to completely solo it without any problem whatsoever. Oh, for some reason... Oh, that was hilarious. Diana actually flashed over the wall looking for me, but I had deceived away. So that was actually pretty awesome. Diana wasted her flash. But anyways, so you definitely want to... I actually think I put a second point in my deceive. I wanted to put it in my Jack-in-the-Box. But it really helps you clear. It helps you stay at high HP in the jungle, because you can use it to tank jungle monsters and give you a little bit of extra DPS. And then when you're ganking, you want to try to put a box down in such a way that, you know, while you're still stealth, you can put down a box and then attack your opponent. And then, you know, hopefully you put the box in the right location, so while they're running away, they'll get crowd controlled, so you get that little bit of extra fear. So again, I like to max this ability second for the increased duration in the fear and the damage. You know, I think you can max this last if you want, or maybe you can max it first, but I don't think I would max it first over the Shiv. But it's kind of a personal playstyle. If you're ganking a lot and getting a lot of the deceives off to go deal damage, the extra crit chance is really nice, because that's going to increase your burst damage when you go to gank someone. But I tend to max Jack-in-the-Box second, because I think it does just a better job for giving you some crowd control. Your split pushing is a little more safe because you have the Jack-in-the-Boxes to look out for you. Oh, that's another part too, is when you're split pushing, not only do you have your Q deceive to distract or to get away, but you can also place Jack-in-the-Box traps throughout the jungle to give you vision and to just let you know if anybody's coming for you, because they'll pop up on the minimap when they get feared. So a lot of different uses here for your Jack-in-the-Boxes. Next up would be Shaco's E, Two-shiv Poison. This is just a point and click targeted spell, relatively short range, 625, but it does a couple of nice things for you. First of all, it has a passive component, and it looks like we're going in for a fight here on Udyr. There goes my Shiv, and I'm going to get the slow on Udyr and try to track him down. There goes the Shiv right there, slowing him, and then going to Q, and with the red buff and proc as well is going to pick up that kill. So first up, the passive component. While Two-shiv Poison is ready to cast, Shaco's basic attacks will reduce movement speed by 30%. And it will also reduce minions' chance to hit by 30%. So it helps you stay alive in the jungle, giving you a little bit of extra, dodge percentage chance. Kind of an outdated mechanic. They used to have flat dodge in the game. I think this Shaco's is an older champion. His kit kind of reflects that. But kind of an interesting component. A little bit of RNG there. Random number generator going on, but the slow is really nice as well. So when your Shiv is ready to cast, so not on cooldown, your auto attacks will actually slow in of themselves, which is really nice. But then the active component, it's just a targeted nuke that will damage your opponent and slow them as well. So knowing when to use your Two-shiv Poison is really important. If you're kind of in a longer drawn out fight, you're probably going to want to save it, just so you can keep the passive slow going on your auto attacks. So with red buff and with your passive from Two-shiv Poison, you actually have a very powerful slow on your auto attacks, and you kind of want to keep that going as much as possible. But if you're going for more of like a burst situation, or at the end to finish up a kill, you're definitely going to want to use your Shiv. It looks like Twisted Fate just teleported away from that gank. You're definitely going to want to use your Shiv to get the slow, because it does do quite a bit of damage. The base damage goes up to 210, and with your passive, the damage is actually boosted by your passive, the 20%. From behind, then the base damage is actually 250, so really nice. It also has nice AD and AP scaling ratios, so definitely your highest damaging ability, and also the increasing the slow is really nice. So just overall a really strong ability that I like to max first. And then there is also his ultimate, his last ability. So Shaco will vanish briefly and then reappear with a clone that will last up to 18 seconds. The clone will deal 75% of Shaco's damage and receives 15 increased damage. So he deals less damage, but will tank more damage, I believe, if I'm understanding that correctly. Receives 50% increased damage. Or actually, I think he tanks less efficiently because he's receiving increased damage. So he's like a little bit less powerful, but here's actually a really nice use of my ultimate to give me the extra damage onto the onto this Diana. Now I'm just probably going to finish this kill with my Shiv. There's the Shiv, going to get the slow, and one more auto attack I believe should finish up the kill. So nice use of my ultimate right there to give me that a little bit of extra damage. But there's a lot of nice things you can do with this. Oh, and then after it runs out of time or on death, it will actually detonate, dealing extra magic damage as well. So again, your Hallucinate does a lot of nice things for you. You can use it when you're fighting, like I did there when I got the jump on Diana, just to give me a little bit of extra damage. You can also use it when you are, you can solo dragon at relatively low level, because you can use your Hallucinate to tank. Actually going in here kind of on my own, and I do end up getting caught out right there, so a little bit of misposition on my part, but hoping that my team can follow up on me. It looks like Twisted Fate wants to go ham, and he is going to go in and get a kill on Blitzcrank, and now it looks like TF actually is going to fall, but then Thresh kills Caitlyn, and now on to Diana. I believe my team should be able to pick up this kill. Yes, they are. Very nicely done. That Bloodthirster lifesteal really came in handy there. But anyways, so a lot of things you can do with Shaco's ultimate. You can use the clone to help destroy towers very quickly. That's, again, what makes Shaco a really good split pusher. You can pop your ultimate and get a ton of free damage down onto a tower. You can use it to, again, get the extra damage onto, in a team fight. You can use it to confuse. You can use it to kind of, if you can continue to stand there and auto attack, you can, send your clone away and confuse your opponents and make them think that it's actually you running away. Just a lot of really cool things that you can do with your Hallucinate. Take dragon, take towers, confuse people in team fights. Just a very strong ability overall. So anyways, those are Shaco's abilities, and a really interesting champion, and really somebody who I think is going to be someone who benefits from the recent changes to the jungle items. If you've noticed any of the trends recently, I actually posted this on my Twitter account, that I have been seeing a lot of very high damage jungle champions recently. And here is actually the beginning of my split push. My team's actually fighting 4v5. Thresh gets picked off, but Riven is taking top tower, and even though they have all 5 members mid, we're managing to take a top tower there, and I am pushing bottom tower very quickly as well. And we've put their enemy team into a place where they don't really know what to do. It looks like Caitlyn's coming down. It looks like, yeah, so they don't really know how to respond. Some have gone top, some have come bottom. Nobody has really pushed mid. Even though Blitzcrank's coming in, I could probably kill him, but I choose to just finish off this tower and continue pushing. So again, just putting their enemy team in a bad position where their lack of coordination just really costs them. But anyway, so as I was saying, I've noticed a lot of high damage junglers lately. Jungle Wukong, Jungle Pantheon. These have all been very strong LCS plays. Junglers, and I think Shaco can fit right there with them. And the big reason, if you guys don't understand, is that Elder Lizard and the Spectral Wraith have received, and I guess the Ancient Golem as well, have received this passive component where against monsters they deal 30% bonus damage, but then here's the key part: it will restore 8% of damage dealt as health and 4% as mana. So basically, so every time you deal damage to a monster, you receive some of the damage dealt back as health and mana. And so when you think about percentage damage, if you are a tank and you're dealing damage to jungle monsters, 8% of not very much damage is not that much healing. But if you're a very high damage champion, and here's a really nice use of my deceive to get into range onto Wukong, and we're going to pick him off with my Shiv right there. But anyway, so think about 8% of not very much damage is not very much healing. But if you're building, look at my build: Elder Lizard, Ravenous Hydra, Phantom Dancer. 8% of a lot of damage is a lot of healing. So basically, if you're building damage, you end up having a tremendous amount of sustain in the jungle. And if you play a high damage jungle, you actually notice that you can oftentimes straight up heal throughout a jungle clear. You will end up leaving the jungle with more mana and health than you started. And that's a really important distinction to understand. So it looks like a nice big team fight is starting here. Going to try and get in position. I'm actually right in the middle of the enemy team. I go for Diana because I deem her to be the biggest threat, but I really am out of position here. I do not want to be the one tanking all this damage. I do end up going down, but hoping that I was able to do enough to keep my team kind of alive. But definitely a mistake, a positioning mistake right there as Shaco. You do not want to be the one in the middle of things. Fortunately, Thresh lands a nice hook, and they follow up with a kill, and it looks like my team is going to follow up nicely here. Jinx able to, actually she goes down, but Twisted Fate I think is able to clean up most of this. There he goes, and it looks like, okay, so kind of a 4 for 5. Not the best trade in the world. Definitely a mistake on my part. I am definitely the most fed member of my team, and I should not be the one in the middle of the fight like that. So a mistake right there on my part. Something to learn from. But anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, high damage junglers tend to be doing really, really well. And Shaco is definitely a high damage jungler who can definitely benefit from those changes to the items. Let's talk a little bit more about itemization on Shaco. The primary build is more of an 8A, 80 melee carry styled focus build, as I pick up another dragon. So items like, I believe that hands down the best item to rush is the new Elder Lizard. It just does so much for him. Giving that percentage heal, the burn damage is really, really nice. The additional attack damage and CDR is really, really nice. And especially because he's a very gank-heavy jungler, the conservation passive is really nice. You can see I've gained 637 bonus gold from that conservation passive. So when you spend a lot of time ganking and you come back and clear a big jungle camp, you end up cashing in on a lot of gold. So here I am, back to my split pushing ways. Again, my team is here pushing. It looks like they do pick up a kill on Thresh, but that's okay because Riven and I are actually pushing quite a bit, and even though we lost one, we're not actually losing that much just because we have so much map pressure. We're really forcing our opponents to make bad decisions, and we're getting a ton of pressure down onto this tower. And now just going to likely get away. I did burn a lot there on Blitz, but I didn't end up getting the kill because he had too many friends nearby. And I think I might go ahead and try to duel with Diana here. Let's see, gonna go ahead and pop a box and my ultimate, and gonna go ahead and go on to her now. And it looks like, okay, I do end up getting jumped on a little bit, so I'm gonna use my deceive to just try and get away. Let Twisted Fate kind of handle this. Although it actually looks like he doesn't have any more mana, so okay, an ignite and an auto attack is gonna finish off that kill. So good job by him. So anyways, in terms of itemization, Elder Lizard is probably the very best item for Shaco in terms of an early rush. After that, I really like to get early boots of mobility. I think they are fantastic boots on Shaco, just because Shaco is so reliant on move speed and being very mobile, and somebody who is just very tricky to deal with, very finicky, very hard to lock down. All those attributes I would just definitely describe of Shaco. And boots of mobility really helps with that. You want to be a split pusher, you want to be across the map, creating a lot of pressure. You can see right there we actually picked up a tower because we distracted a lot of people in the top lane, and just overall a good situation for my team. After that, I really like to go for an attack. I like to go for the Ravenous Hydra. I think Tiamat into Hydra is one of the best choices on Shaco. It gives him lifesteal. It gives him some really nice AD. He has big AD ratios on his Two-shiv poison, and also his auto attacks with the base crit on his Q. So if you're critting for 220%, if you've got a lot of attack damage, 220% of 300 is quite a bit, but 220% of 150 really isn't that much. So kind of keep that in mind. So Hydra is really, really good. After that, I really like attack speed item. Phantom Dancer is solid. Static Shiv could also work. It's kind of overkill with the Hydra, but it definitely can work also. And then after that, I went for Randuin just because I felt like they had a lot of physical damage threats with the Wukong and the Caitlyn, kind of the ones that were really primarily dragging me down. So I think Randuin's is really nice, and it's really helping me out here. You can see we're in another split push situation. My team is losing a tower here, but again, we're taking a tower here, and we're going to pick up this kill on Caitlyn, and we're going to take this inhibitor. While as if you look at my team, they are actually doing a nice job of keeping this push away, while Thresh and I make this really nice split push in the bottom lane. So again, we're putting the enemy team in an almost impossible to win situation. Riven kind of gets caught out here, so that's making that decision a little bit easier. But I wonder if she's actually going to be able to do something successful. But look at all the pressure they're putting on the enemy team, while we are here taking this inhibitor tower, or this Nexus tower. We do able to get this successfully, and we're just going to go ahead and run away using my deceive. Thresh is going to do a little crowd controlling, which probably wasn't actually that helpful. And I'm just going to try and get away. So overall, a very, very good push. We lost this tower. We lost one kill, but we managed to take this tower, the inhibitor, and the Nexus tower. So a very, very successful split push right there. Back to close off the discussion on itemization. Start with Elder Lizard. I would say go towards Ravenous Hydra. Pick an attack speed item. Phantom Dancer is really good. I also think there's a good argument for Zephyr, which I do end up picking later in this game. Last Whisper is always a good choice as well. You really want to go for a very damage-heavy focused build. I would pick one defensive item, maybe two. Randuin's is definitely the best choice. for a physical damage, you know, you can always get Banshee's Veil if you need, you know, against a scary AP. You know, you've got a lot of different choices, but a very straightforward melee carry style build, you know, focusing on, you know, a big AD item, a big attack speed item, all that good stuff. Now I'm going in for a nice duel here on Diana, and I'm really not that afraid. I've got Ignite, I've got my, you know, my very strong auto attacks, got plenty of lifesteal, and now I'm just going to be able to deceive away very effectively. Blitzcrank, he thinks he can do stuff. Flash hooks me, but I just Q away from that, no problem. So big cooldown for him wasted. No big deal for me. So good situation right there. And now pinging on to Baron, because I believe we can pick that up. We see Udyr down in the bottom lane, so that's like a prime, you know, reason for us to go onto Baron right now. Getting it burned down pretty low, and they haven't really shown up to try and contest there. We actually do pick up the Baron, not a problem. And look, if you can see, I actually healed off of the Baron itself, which is quite interesting. So again, you know, I think the pressure that I've been creating across the map has really been overwhelming for the enemy team. You know, that push in the bottom lane has resulted in Udyr coming down, and now Diana and Caitlyn coming down to try to deal with the super minions that we're pushing in. That gave us a free Baron, gave us a kill in the top lane, and now it's letting us siege this tower here. So again, just trying to be such an extreme nuisance here in this late game situation. I'm super fed, 8, 2, and 7. I have the most creep score in the game just because I've been doing so much split pushing. Haven't really been doing a tremendous amount of ganking, but been really trying to be a big-time nuisance. Now it looks like Shaco or Wukong engages on the enemy team. I'm going to come in here and try and be an assassin and use this box trap of boxes that I placed. Going to pop my ultimate just so Caitlyn doesn't know who to attack, and then join my team for the rest of this fight. Just going to finish off Blitzcrank. Now moving on to Diana using my Shiv and my auto attacks. Now moving here on to, can I get the kill? Q, Shiv, there's the kill right there on Udyr, and again, a very strong fight for us. Kind of moving onto this tower, but I don't really want to take too much damage from this tower if I can. But again, a very successful team fight for us. And again, you know, we're forcing the enemy team to make bad decisions. You know, we're forcing them to do things that they didn't necessarily want to do. Because we had the upper hand, you know, forcing them to make bad plays, you know, because again, this was a normals match, but you know, people who aren't playing ranked 5s or in the LCS, they don't have a lot of coordination, they don't have a lot of teamwork, they don't really understand how to play and work together. So again, Shaco is a champion who can really prey on those weaknesses, and somebody who's very, very strong, very scary to deal with in these late game situations. So again, drawing pressure, forcing Wukong to come up, allowing Riven and Thresh to finish off that tower. If Wukong had been there, he maybe could have stymied that. Now here I am focusing on this this inhibitor that has respawned. Blitzcrank and Caitlyn come at me. I'm just going to deceive away, and I'm perfectly safe. Again, trying to be as much of a split pushing nuisance as I possibly can be. This is really what you should be doing as Shaco in the late game. You know, you can, if you're playing Shaco, you can try and group a little bit more with your team, and I do that a little bit more towards the end of this game. But for the most part, Shaco is kind of like Tryndamere in the fact that he's almost always better served split pushing. So also, all the while, I was telling my team, I was giving them orders about, you know, hey, you guys need to understand how split pushing works. Like, if you guys stay grouped as a unit, and if I am off drawing pressure, you know, don't fight 5v4. Wait till they send one to deal with me, and then, you know, make sure you can fight. My team is actually set up quite well to support a split pusher. We've got Jinx and Twisted Fate, who have tremendous long-range AoE wave clear, which is a really essential skill. You know, other champions like Gragas or Orianna can also work in this role. But you need some way to clear waves if you're going to be sieging at a tower. They also have, you know, Riven, who can do a lot of AoE damage as well, who's very useful in a 5v4 situation. And then Thresh has tremendous disengage, you know, with his box, with his flay. You know, very, very strong support have as well. Other examples would be like Lulu or Janna could definitely work in that situation. But again, here I am just drawing pressure, not necessarily grouping with my team, but just trying to be as much of a nuisance as I can, giving Jinx a couple of moments to auto-attack that tower. And we just disengage. You know, we're not trying to take 5 members and just group into this 5-man team fight. Here, a team fight is engaged. I go straight on to Caitlyn. I use my Shiv, I use my Deceive, use my Ultimate and my Ignite, and able to pick up that kill onto Caitlyn. She actually made a big mistake there in ulting me, but now I'm going on to Udyr, and I'm just out lifestealing him. I'm not really that afraid. I've got a lot of damage, going to go ahead and finish off that kill. onto Wukong, and that's pretty much the game. So anyways, I think this was a really good example of how to play Shaco successfully. You know, I got some nice early ganks onto Diana, and then I transitioned into a really strong, annoying split push roll later in the game, ending the game 11, 2, and 10, and 296 creeps, just a very strong. You can see my full build. I actually sold my Elder Lizard, and I ended up with Hydra, Randuin's, Zephyr, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and then the Boots of Mobility with the Alacrity Enchantment. So a very high mobility build with the Mobos and the Enchantment and the Zephyr, and then a very high damage build with the Hydra, the Phantom Dancer, the Zephyr, and the Last Whisper. And then the Randuins to keep myself alive, because again, I was the one who's diving onto Caitlyn. I was dealing with the Wukong ultimates. You know, Diana is not probably going to be going for me. She's going to be going for Jinx. You know, so building situationally against their team. But again, you know, the importance of understanding how to split push and create pressure across the map is absolutely essential for playing Shaco correctly. But again, if you can really master this playstyle, it is really effective and very hard to deal with in a solo queue type situation. And especially now that the jungle meta has shifted more towards high damage dealers to really take advantage of the benefits of the new Elder Lizard changes, and Spectral Wraith as well. You know, you got junglers like Shaco, Pantheon, Wukong, Diana. You know, very high damage carry style Kha'Zix, very high damage carry style junglers. That are really strong, and I think Shaco fits very nicely into that mix. And also, one last note: somebody who also takes advantage of the change to oracles, you know, in pink wards not being as prevalent as they used to be. You know, Shaco can do quite well in these situations. So, anyways, I really enjoy playing Shaco, and I'm probably going to give him a shot more in the future. More of a situational niche jungler pick, but definitely someone who also can be very, very strong. And a very fun champ to play. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below on Shaco. And let me know if you have any other thoughts on any other champions I should do a why buy on. Or I guess just any thoughts in general down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.